Hello everybody, it's Evan Irwin. It is June 28th, 2006, and I am playing a modified version of my Rakdos Aggro-Control deck, where I use Frostling, Cry of Contrition, card advantage such as Phyrexian Arena to get an advantage. I open with a hand of Rakdos Guildmage, Cry of Contrition, Frostling, Ink Eyes, Sulphurous Springs, Rakdos Carnarium, and Phyrexian Arena. This is what you call a keeper. And I'll tell him I'll keep, and let's get started. He's playing a random deck. I have no idea what he's playing. He leads off with a Breeding Pool. I draw another Ink Eyes. I'm going to play the Springs, pay 1, lay the Frostling, say go. Next turn I'll be able to play Cry of Contrition, haunt the Frostling, swing for 1, and then sack. That's 2 cards for 1 and a single free damage. You don't have to sack the Frostling, but usually if you can tear their hand up early, that's pretty good too. I drew Hit and Run. I'm going to pay a life and play Cry of Contrition, targeting him. He discards a Forest. I'm going to haunt the Frostling, swing for 1. He'll go to 19. And I'll end my turn after I play the Sulphurous Springs. After I play the Carnarium, rather. He taps 3 and plays a Wood Elf, which is just perfect bait for my Hit and Run. He'll lose 3 life from the Wood Elves and another one from the Frostling. And that is why Hit and Run is so fantastic. Hit targeting you. I drew a Sulphurous Springs this turn. Take him down to 15. Say go. He now has a Breeding Pool, a Temple Garden, a Yavimaya Coast, and an Okina Temple of the Grandfathers in play. He just played a Vitu-Ghazi, which is obviously bad for my Frostling. I drew a Swamp. I now have 4 mana on the board. I'm going to swing with my Frostling and make him make a token. Yep. Blocks the token. Blocks with the token, rather. Damage on stack. Think about which card to discard. He discards Kodama of the North Tree and destroys his Saproling. I want to pay 3 and drop my Phyrexian Arena and end my turn. This game was described as a serious 2 out of 3 game, so I should have some follow-ups to this. He plays another Wood Elf to go get some more land. Next turn, I'll be drawing 2 cards with the Phyrexian Arena. I have a Rakdos Guildmage in my hand, as well as 2 Ink Eyes and the Sulphurous Springs. So obviously I've got plenty to work with here. The most recent addition to this deck so far has been Squealing Devil. I wanted to see how good he is, particularly because he has Fear, which is very important in differing situations. I drew a Swamp and a Kakusho. I played the Swamp, and now I want to play the Rakdos Guildmage in my turn. Next turn I'll have 6 mana, which will give me Kakusho. Then I'll hopefully swing with Kakusho and Ninjutsu in Ink Eyes. Of course, he plays Umezawa's Jit, which is really bad. Because if I had 1 more mana, I could kill the Wood Elf. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. So, should I take 1, or should I block with the Guildmage? I'm not going to block, because I'd rather take 1 and have him use all of his counters on the Rakdos Guildmage, so he can't try any crazy tricks later, such as life gain and so on and so forth. Alright, he kills the Guildmage as expected. I'm going to go to 15, and I draw Sulphurous Springs and Hit and Run. How good is Hit and Run? Let me count the ways. There's a Kakusho. And he mana leaks the piss out of it. which is good because now he won't have that mana leak for my hit and run. course, it doesn't matter because I would have 3 extra mana as it is. The problem with hit and run against this deck, particularly against Vitu-Ghazi, is the fact he'll just make a token. So hopefully he's going to tap out of some sort. Obviously this deck doesn't love Moloku for the same reasons. Hit and run is definitely a more tempo-based card. He pays 3 mana and plays a Wood Elf. Of course, he also taps his Vitu-Ghazi, which is a mistake, particularly because he knows I already have hit and run. I've already played one against him so far. But that it's his choice. Of course, if he were to not tap the Vitu-Ghazi, he still wouldn't have enough mana, so that was my mistake. Anyway, go to 14. There's that Squealing Devil after all. Let's see. Obviously, he's going to give up the Wood Elf with a hit and run, the one that's not equipped, as it were. He has a Breeding Pool and 2 Temple Gardens untapped. So he may have a remand or a mana leak, but I doubt it. The problem is I'm going to have to bait those Jit counters often. At this point I'm hoping to draw a Jit. So I want to tap out and play Ink Eyes. Is that okay? Oh, he had the mana leak. Alright, well I'm going to play a Blood Crypt in my turn. Again, sometimes in certain decks, you know, you're just hoping to draw the Jit versus their Jit. He's got some long game with the Vitu-Ghazis, but I'm not really worried about the Vitu-Ghazi at all. Again, that problem is that broken artifact. So I'll take 6 from the Wood Elf after he pumps the 1 twice. You know, funny story, I remember when I first saw Umezawa's Jit at the Betrayers pre-release. Oh, there's a Kaga. And I couldn't believe it. I was playing against it, and you know, it's that feeling I think that everyone got at the time when you first, you know, block a creature with it on it or what have you, and the creature that had it on it died, and then it still got counters, and then you were like, whoa, that's broken in half. So we currently have a hand of Cry of Contrition, Umezawa's Jit, which is great to draw. Squealing Devil, Hit and Run, Ink Eyes. I won't tell him I'm thinking, because I am. Should we play the Jit? Obviously, we need to play the Jit, so that will leave us with 3, 4, 5, 6 mana left over. That's enough for a Ink Eyes. He obviously does not have mana leak or anything of the sort. I could play Squealing Devil, which will guarantee me to let Ink Eyes in. And that sounds like a plan, because fear is great to have. So, I'm going to play the Jit. Unfortunately. Yep, okay. Unfortunately, I'm at 7. Okay, sure. He wants to pump his Wood Elf for some reason. I guess he thinks I'm going to Hideous Laughter or something. Okay. Your guy's a 5/5. He's very impressive. Okay, so I'm going to play a red and a black and get my Squealing Devil in there. I really wish I would have not used my Rakdos Carnarium to play my Jit, but that's unfortunate. Holy cow, the boy had Glare of Subdual in his hand. That's bad. Unfortunately, I'm staring down a 5/5 flyer and 2 1/1s, as well as a token producer. So that's a bummer. And oh my gosh, because I tapped so horribly, I cannot lose 2 life here. Oh my gosh, this is awful. That killed me. I just killed myself based on my bad tapping. So I'm going to block a Wood Elf. And he's going to pump the Kaga with Okina, which I didn't even notice. Good player there. Alright, okay. Good game, game 2. Alright, in the next game I'll show you how I sideboarded. Tell him yes, I want to sideboard, and we'll get to that when we get to that. Thank you for watching.